Welcome to Sunday. It is May the 22nd. It is 4:30 p.m. And on this Sunday episode, I wanted to take a moment to talk about the beyond body. Because, I haven't talked about it for a while, like the specifics on how it really began. I know that I get questions about whether anyone can achieve beyond body, which, by the way, I'll tell you, I think that it is possible as it is to do astral projection. But I will honestly tell you that I'm not even sure how it is that I gained the ability. From one of my mom's theories is that I have probably always had access to the beyond body, but that it came out after the accident, which was quite traumatic for me. So I always kind of had access, or I came into this body having access to being able to do it. And one of the reasons why I believe that I came in with this access is to be able to help others, which is what I'm really, truly trying to do. Helping others, not only in astral projection, but there are other folks out there that have talked about experiencing beyond body type things. Now, there is also this thing called reality shifting that's out there that people compare the beyond body to, and there are many similarities. But I will tell you, for those of you who are listening from that community, when this first started happening, I had no idea what reality shifting was. My accident happened, the accident that almost cost me my life. That was in 2015 that happened. It was June of 2015, in fact. I will always remember, I believe it was June 6th. I ended up in the hospital, and one of the first times that I can recall seeing, not having the actual experience, but seeing these things that I would see was when I was in the hospital bed. It would be many times in the morning. I'd be tired and I would shut my eyes, and I was seeing things that were completely unfamiliar to me. It was like, I might compare it to almost being on a ship or being on a train, except for you don't see the structure of the train or the ship. You just feel like you're moving slowly and you're seeing something kind of in the distance. And what I was seeing were cities and other things that were completely unfamiliar to me. Now, I chalked it all up to be the drugs at first. That's what I thought was having an impact on me. But when I got home and I got off of all the painkillers because my leg was doing better, I continued to see these things. And this was especially true after I stopped taking the painkillers, that I started really seeing this. When I was tired, I would shut my eyes. And one of the first things I recall seeing was I was in the back of this station wagon, and I think there were other kids around me, and we were leaving, and I couldn't have been more than maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8 years old at the time. In this vision, there was a motel that we were leaving. We were driving away from it, and I could see the sign. I could see the motel sign. It looked sort of like it was outdated, like the 60s or something. And below that sign, I could see people swimming. They were jumping in the pool. They were having fun. They were splashing around. Most of the bathing suits I saw were one-piece piece bathing suits, and the women had their heads covered. And I don't remember what they call that thing that they cover their heads to protect their hair. I saw a lot of that, and just others having fun. And then, not long after that, as we were driving off in this station wagon, I remember I opened my eyes and I was like, what was that? And it wasn't the only thing I'd seen. I'd seen things that that were very, it was very murky. And the reason why the whole station wagon thing, though, the reason why I wanted to talk about that was because that was one of the clearer ones that I'd had up to that point. And before that, it seemed as if I was kind of watching, as if you were watching a movie. But over time, I was becoming more and more a sort of participant or a part of what I was seeing. That was one of the first times that I had felt that I was there and I was a part of it. At some point during all this, I started talking to my mom, and I must tell you, I mention my mom a lot when I'm talking on this channel. She is amazing, because at that point, I was honestly beginning to believe that I was losing my mind. And it's interesting because, you know, I'd been doing astral projection, but this wasn't like astral projection. It wasn't anything like it. For one thing, I wasn't feeling separation, and I thought I was going crazy. I thought, man, this accident must have done something to me. And my mom assured me that I was still rational. And then when I told her about the whole thing, when I saw the motel and some of the other things I'd seen, I thought, well, is this possible? Is it possible that I'm, you know, seeing past life type stuff? And my mom stopped me right there. And she said, look, you don't want to put this in a box. You don't want to make a judgment about this, because honestly, at this point, you're still learning. You really don't know what this is. And it's very important that you keep an open mind. Now, certainly, you probably understand now why I have so many of the philosophies that I have about keeping an open mind, about not judging something. Because once she told me that, once she said, you know, keep your mind open with all this, other things started to happen. Now, perhaps if I would have closed my mind and thought, okay, this is what this is, then perhaps that would have been it. But after that, after I had that conversation with my mom, well, I'll give you an example of course, I've been keeping all these beyond body experiences in journals, and I'll read directly from one of these excerpts from the journal. Traveling, I could sense the feeling of speed, then of slowing. I asked to see the universe, space, and all there is. Suddenly, I was in the darkness of space. A hand was guiding me. It turned me around, and I saw what looked like toys or puzzles floating in space. I saw what looked like a sculpture of a wooden face. Now, I'm just breaking in here to say that this sculpture, I didn't put this in the journal part, but I do remember that this wooden face had to be the size of a planet. It looked as if it had been designed by some tribe or something, you know, the kind of faces you would see in some of these tribes and stuff, the wooden faces, the masks, but it was enormous. I asked, who are these people? Going back to my journal. The voice said that they were the Ra'u. In English, they are known as the helpers. There was writing on these giant objects that I saw, maybe works of art, or again, they kind of look like toys to me. It was very interesting. I should also break in here and say that a lot of what I believe I see at times are translations, things that are making sense to my mind, because perhaps what was really there may not have made any sense to my mind at all and may have been beyond my comprehension. On these writings, going back to my journal, I couldn't read the writing, but I do remember that it was all of these things, all of these objects were floating in space. I think, and I say this in my journal, I think I expected to see planets or maybe galaxies and things like that. And I did see stars in the backdrop, but I saw all these objects. And to this day, I really don't know what they mean. But again, I'm only reading this to you just to give you an example of what happened after keeping an open mind, and just to let you know again that I believe that this is the way to achieve, not only to achieve astral projection, to keep that your mind open, but it may also be a way to achieve the beyond body as well, if it's something that you're interested in. I will say that for me, the beyond body has been such a fascinating thing, because when I astral project, and it was funny because I was talking to my mom about this actually yesterday, and I was just again going over some of the differences. One of the big differences is that when I astral project, I feel like I weigh nothing. I feel lighter than air. I feel, I don't feel the heaviness of having a body. Now, when I do the beyond body, I feel as if I am in a physical vehicle, I guess you could say. Obviously, my body, the body that is the one that I'm speaking to you from right now, that's in the 3D world, is resting in bed. But I could swear to you, from the ability to be able to touch things, to smell things, to do all those things are possible. And I continue to test when I'm out there, to touch objects, to smell things, to feel things when I'm out there, to kind of test it. But as far as I am concerned, when I am in the beyond body, I am in a reality, not necessarily this reality, but another reality. So it is quite amazing. It's quite amazing to feel as if you have a physical body, but at the same time, you can jump into the air and fly. It's an incredible, incredible feeling. And I would wish and hope that everyone listening to me, if they desired to feel this feeling, to be able to experience it, would go out and be able to do that. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to those of you who are kind of curious about the beyond body. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And until next time, take care.